Alright, this is just going to be a mass-producing nerd guide on farming your sweet berries optimally on this server. So, I'm going to start off with the part that most people want to know about, which is the fast break speed thing that many people are doing on the server now after it was found out. And essentially, when you're left-clicking these crops, you're breaking them at 20 blocks per second, which is the break cap of Minecraft. However, when you're using sweet berries, you're right-clicking and you're only going at 5 blocks per second, and it's far slower than you want to do. So we want to effectively find a way to break at right-click speeds faster. You could just manually spam the key, but you don't want to do this all day, and it's also not even going to get you close to the break cap unless you've got some weird, insane clicks per second. So effectively, what we want to do is we want to use the fact that your keyboard has a repeat rate. And so when you're using a keyboard and you're holding down a single key on that keyboard, for example, the W key, it's going to spam the W key over and over again. However, if you were to go into your options, your controls, your keybinds, and you were to rebind your right click to a key on your keyboard, it would happen to spam that key as if you were spamming it manually at the same rate of your repeat rate on your keyboard. So if we were to press the movement button, followed by my new rebound break button, you're going to be breaking at the break cap. Well, you're going to be breaking at the repeat rate of your keyboard or the break cap, whichever is higher. I'll get into that in a moment. However, one unfortunate issue with this is because it's abusing the fact that your keyboard has a repeat rate, you have to press movement and then break, and if you move after you've moved a layer, you'll have to press movement and break again, which becomes annoyance, and you don't want to do that. So one way to bypass this, and the easiest way to bypass this that I know of, is to use a second input device. So if you've just got a secondary keyboard lying around, if you've got programmable buttons on your mouse, although with your mouse you'll have to be careful to not mess up and move the angle on your mouse when you're doing it. So you might even want like a secondary mouse and then like have it turned upside down or something. You could use a gamepad, or if you've got foot pedals, you're already using the pedals for movement, so if you use the keyboard for braking, you've got a secondary input device right there. So when you've got the secondary input device, I'm using this keyboard. It's off screen from the camera because I can't put it in screen really. I'm going to hold down the button on the one keyboard, and I'm going to press the break key on the main keyboard. And this is actually perfect tick alignment. I'll get into that later, but that's nice to see. This is what you want to see when you're farming, with my design at least. You want to be missing about 1 in every 12 berries or so. But as you see, when you're like moving back and forth, it's not going to actually cause any issue with messing it up. So yeah, that's the part about the repeat rate. I'll actually get into tick alignment because we're on that. So what you'll see when you happen to press it is sometimes you'll get odd. I got perfect tick alignment there again. Sometimes you'll get odd tick alignment where you won't be breaking every berry like this. You'll miss a couple in the front. You'll miss 3. And from that point, you'll just want to like keep pressing it until you get what you saw earlier, where it's like this. You'll have better luck getting better tick alignment if your repeat rate in Windows is exactly 20. You can go to your Windows settings here, and if you just look up repeat in your Windows settings, you'll want this, and you'll want this set to 20. If you're on Windows 11, you can see the actual number. If you're on Windows 10, you'll just want to set it like roughly here and hope it's accurate, and then use an online program to actually test the accuracy, or you can even go into your registry if you really wanted to and try to find like auto repeat rate 50 and modify it, but I can't recommend modifying your registries if you don't know what to do. But yeah, once you've got this set to 20, this one doesn't matter, this one's just personal preference. But if you have this set to exactly 20, you'll be effectively clicking at exactly 20 blocks per second, which helps with aligning your repeat rate, ideally. When it comes to design, the way I personally like to do it is this design here, with the soul speed on the floor, with soul speed 3, speed 2, and a psycho hood. I'm not on the server, so I don't have a psycho hood available, but I do have my attribute value modified to the exact value the Psycho Hood would give you, which all three combined gets you a speed of 10.737 meters per second, as you can see in my top left corner. Since you're going too thick, that's 21.4 sweet berries in your range of view every second, and you'll be able to break exactly 20 of them. So that's the design I perfectly find fine. If you don't have the Psycho Hood, you'll be moving at about 9.6 meters per second, or 9.67 meters per second, I believe, and so you'll be losing about 4 to 5% of your sweet berries over having one, but it's not a huge deal. If you don't want to use soul speed, there is the option of this design, where you have 3 layers of sweet berry, and you effectively farm them. Pretty much similar to the way you do it, but without soul speed and just with speed 2 in the Psycho Hood. So this is the angle I have found works pretty well for this. I don't really use this design, so I kind of just practiced it a little bit, and I found the angle that works here. You'll just align yourself perfectly on an axis, and you get to 45 degrees, and then you'll get to 6.44, and then on whatever axis you're at, and then you'll just be able to effectively do what we were doing before, but on a 3-thick row. You'll see you're breaking every berry here, and this is because this is actually slightly below the break cap. A Psycho Hood with speed 2 is only going to be 6.648 meters per second, which is about 19.94 breaks per second, which technically you're losing about 1/5% of berry, which I mean, isn't optimal, but it's not really going to make a significant difference. The main reason I don't like this design is because to farm for the exact same amount of time, it'll take about 30% more space, roughly. I have the math on that somewhere on the server, you can see if you really care, but basically, if you want to make a farm you can farm for 30 minutes, it will take approximately 30% more space with a design like this. But the benefit is you don't need to use soul speed, you don't need to get soul speed for your entire company, and that could be nice if you don't want to like share soul speed smugs or something like that. So that's just talking about that design. With this design, I don't have any specific recommendations as to how to get this angle exacted, unfortunately, because I haven't really practiced it, but yeah, this is roughly the angle. Good luck getting it. Speaking of angles, I don't actually think I used the angle in the previous design. So for aligning yourself properly with this, I would actually recommend using a trapdoor to basically be able to perfectly align your axis so that you can do 2 rows without having to move your mouse at all. You'll be wanting to move at about negative 18.1 degrees. And you'll want your x-axis aligned perfectly on the axis of negative 180, 180, etc. And to do that, it's pretty difficult. It can take a while to actually get yourself a perfect axis. Just turn your sensitivity down. I'd probably just recommend literally flying back and forth, slightly adjusting your mouse while you look at that axis. And you're basically trying to get that z-axis to not go down, or your x-axis if your farm's built in the other direction, etc. I'll try it for a second, but oh, here, nope, not quite, but this is pretty close. Oh, I lost it. So yeah, you'll basically want to do this until you get like a literal perfect alignment where these degrees are barely moving on the other axis so that you won't be shifting around. It can move a little bit because it'll readjust when you go back, but it's got to be pretty close to perfect. And that can take a while to get correct. So once you have that completely accurate, you'll just be able to walk straight into the trapdoor and you'll be aligned to break 2 in a row. And I showed you the alignment on the other one earlier, although I don't have like a trapdoor or a buffer block for that one. You'll probably have to find that on your own if you want to build it. So yeah, that's basically a guide. I'd also recommend, I think I said it before, but I'd recommend holding like a block that you can't eat or place when you're farming, magma cream, blaze rod, anything like that, because otherwise once you start taking hunger damage, your inventory will build with sweet berry, it'll be a huge issue. But yeah, there's a basic guide on farming sweet berry, I guess.